Really excited to be here in Leeds today, speaking to the group that we've got in the room here today. I'm joined by colleagues from our customer engagement team and also our corporate affairs marketing branding team. I'm head of communication at Scottish Water, a role that I've held for 2 years. Worked in the public sector in a very different environment in the world of policing before that, and for 10 years was a journalist before moving into comms. I've got 20 minutes today. Your Water, Your Life, which I'll talk to you about, has really defined my time in Scottish Water. It's been 2 years in the development, the ideas, the development, and then into the delivery of it. And as we stand here today, the campaign has been live for exactly 1 year. So happy birthday, Your Water, Your Life. I won't ask you to sing, so. Right. This is not the Scottish Water mascot, but I've put an application in to get him. So, what I'm going to talk to you about is about how we've gone about enhancing the perceptions of our organisation at the same time as being part of a worldwide conversation around global behaviour change involving our customers throughout Scotland, with one simple ask: to top up from the tap. The inspiration for this came from Blue Planet. I don't think anybody who watched David Attenborough's Blue Planet series would have been failed to have been moved by seeing the damage done to the world we live in through and marine life, like our friend on the screen here, through our behaviours as consumers, particularly around plastic waste and the environment. Scottish Water for a long time has asked our customers, asked our public to respect our water cycle, but mostly that was being done through asking people to dispose of items appropriately down the toilet and in the kitchen in an effort to keep the system flowing and to reduce the impact on our environment. But we decided 2 years ago to do something different. We wanted to encourage people to appreciate, respect and love Scotland's tap water. To use refillable bottles, and I'm delighted to see that the goodie bags you've got today have refillable bottles. That was nothing to do with me. Drink more tap water and think about the water that they use as a valuable resource. And we wanted to build on our position in Scottish life as being more than just a utility. I'll go on to a little bit of the structure that we operate in. Anecdotally, we know that people generally love the qualities of Scottish water, Scotland's water. But as a product or a service, we were flying under the radar and taken for granted. So to do this required for us some serious thinking. More of the same was going to deliver more of the same. And our ambitions were higher than that. We had to convince not only our customers that this was the right thing to do, we had to convince our organisation from top to bottom, including our own board. We wanted to grow the relationship that we have with our customers. We know that emotional appeal, connection and pride, which again touches on those kind of things that Stuart mentioned in his opening, know that makes the customer contact we do have easier and more forgiving, ultimately, when things go wrong, and they do go wrong. And also that we would be more visible as an organisation and more approachable as an organisation, and people would be more likely to contact us. We know that when something does go wrong and people do contact us, they survey positively as a result of their interaction with us. Those who don't contact us when things go wrong survey as being less satisfied and less trusting of Scottish Water. And I'll touch on trust from customers shortly. Social media plays a key role in this. Our customer contact team is set up increasingly to operate in the digital space. That's where customers increasingly are contacting us through, particularly during major incidents, via online and social engagement. So the proactive strategy that we've put in place was to generate, and I use the campaign word with caution, because this is, for me, more than a campaign. It's going to deliver across multiple objectives for Scottish Water. So Scottish Water is publicly owned. It's a very different model to the model that operates in England. And trust of our customers is therefore so vital to us. Ultimately, we're owned by the Scottish Government, and through the Scottish Government, the people of Scotland. And the charges for Scotland's water come through people's council tax. It's not metered and billed separately in the way that it is here. We've got many stakeholders. We've got a complex stakeholder map. We've got 5 million customers. We serve 2.5 million households. Our private licence provider serves 153,000 businesses. We employ 4,500 people directly, another 3,000 on top of that through alliance partnerships. We deliver, it's actually 1.4 billion litres of water, so it's gone up by a point, hopefully based on this campaign, to the 2.5 million households. So it's a big undertaking. We play a big part in Scottish life day to day. Where do we start with a campaign like this that's a different proposition for our customers? What we did was bring in some specialist expertise to set new eyes on it, expertise that we didn't really have in-house, to take a different look at it. And importantly, we undertook insight as to the approach that we should be taking. We didn't just make it up as we went along. We listened to our customers. We spoke to people about what works and what wouldn't work. That insight was different to the tons of insight that we undertake right across the business day to day. It was about motivators for drinking tap water. It was about behaviours. It was about language. It was about what people thought, felt and cared about, really human emotions bringing out in this. We also looked at the barriers. We looked at what prevents people taking a refillable bottle with them, what stops them filling up from the tap. So what did all that allow us to do? We used all of that to formulate the creative. All of that insight went into developing Your Water, Your Life as a brand, and it went to the heart of our social strategy. All content was to reflect that core proposition and to be factual. Consistent messaging visually and through text, branded content. The groups also interestingly told us that they wanted and welcomed the public sector, which we're part of, to lead this change in behaviour and be part of that discussion. So it was absolutely vital for us that we positioned ourselves as owning this space and this narrative. Interesting to bring out some of the kind of detail from the insight. It was about environment. That was a key touchstone for people. Health, benefits of drinking water was known about. It wasn't really a motivator. The whole riding the wave of the environment, plastic waste issue really switched people on to making a change in their behaviours. It was also about saving money, topping up from the tap. It's there, it's readily accessible. You don't have to buy water. And to keep it simple, show us a tap, show us a bottle. Behaviour change is actually quite simple. I think I've gone on a slide too far. So the proposition was really clear: to encourage people in Scotland to top up from the tap for the environment, for their pockets and for their health, in that order. We took a very deliberate decision at the outset of this to position this positively. We wanted to talk up the merits of Scotland's tap water and its qualities, rather than take a negative don't do approach, particularly around plastic. So in any of the comms you see around Your Water, Your Life, you won't see the P word. mentioned anywhere. It's all positioned on the positive aspects of Scottish Water. This is the slide that gets slightly technical, so fingers crossed. It was about informing, engaging, and importantly, enabling, which for me takes it beyond just a surface level marketing campaign. We segmented our audiences. We have a forensic understanding of our audiences in relation to Your Water, Your Life, the different people, different community groups, different places, groups of interest, and groups of geography. There is a telly advert at the heart of this, but it's not just about a telly advert. I'll show you that shortly. We understood what people felt, cared about, and would motivate them. And that meant our messaging and the tone and the delivery of that has a chance of resonating, or a better chance of resonating. We engaged and we used our channels appropriate to audience, and we tailored messages to match. But importantly, we enabled. So we nudged people towards facilitating that behaviour change. We provided physical help to do it. We provided refill bottles, one behind me on the screen. And we've also rolled out a network, or in the process of rolling out a network of public space top-up taps throughout the country. And if this works, am I just clicking the link? Yeah?
Yeah.
Scotland's a wild and lovely place.
But there's a change we must embrace.
Just Chill and Choose our very own source of pride.
Scottish water,
On tap.
and fresh, cool, clear inside.
Scotland's water's world class.
No doubt.
So, take a refillable bottle.
When you go out,
It's your water, your life.
top up from the tap with Scottish water,
Fresh, cool, clear.
and only available right here.
So that was a TV advert. That's had two phases of rollout across various channels in Scotland. It's about to be rolled out for a third phase from next Monday, and the new advert kind of blends in around thanking Scotland for topping up from the tap, and also encouraging people to not only love their water but also look after it. It's a precious resource. Yes, Scotland has a lot of water, it has a lot of rainfall, but parts of the country do go dry occasionally, and we ask customers to consider their water use and use water wisely. So we're blending that message into the new advert. So this is the core visual, the tap, the mountains and the scenery of Scotland, evocative of Scotland and our core logo as an organisation, pouring into the water bottle, as you saw from the advert there. It's clean, it's clear, it's crisp, it's simple. I also think it's quite clever in terms of a creative, and it's instantly recognisable. The feedback that we've had from this and the visibility of it has been really, really positive. It's also flexible. When I talked about audience segmentation and knowing intrinsically who our audiences are, this is some examples from the recent Edinburgh Pride event. So we were present at Pride, we were part of the parade. Diversity and inclusion is an important part of Scottish Water as an organisation. So we were speaking to people about diversity and inclusion, but also the fact that we're all 60% water, so it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, we're all made of 60% water. So it's flexible and adaptable to be able to speak to audiences on an individual basis. We've been doing top-up tap rollouts, and I'll come on to those shortly. The top-up taps, we have 10 in the ground right across Scotland, from Inverness right down to Dumfries, and we are actively rolling out more, so we're trying to get one in every local authority area. which is 32, although we'll put a couple of more in, and we're looking at other locations over the next 18 months that we can roll more top-up taps out. The feedback we've had for top-up taps has been phenomenal. It's not just us though. There's a real movement afoot of organisations, of communities wanting to make a difference around plastic waste and how we consume water. The photograph, which happens to be one of my favourites from the whole kind of PR side of the campaign, was taken at a hotel in St Andrews, who had done everything they thought they could to remove plastic from their operations across the hotel, but they wanted to do more. And the hotel needs to provide welcome water for guests. It's quite a high-class hotel. Need to provide welcome water, but they were doing that in plastic bottles. We worked in partnership with them to provide co-branded bottles, Fairmont, St Andrews and Scottish Water, topped up from the tap with a little card round the neck of the bottle and a card in the room for guests, so that they know when they're coming to stay at that hotel, they're getting Scottish Water straight from the tap, and they're playing their part in reducing the environmental footprint of that hotel. These are our top-up taps. We've done 10 of them. Every launch has been localised, agreed actually with the communities that they're going into. So we've spoken to local authorities, we've spoken to community groups about the exact locations that these things go in at. The launches have been deliberately vibrant, colourful, tailored, localised, relevant to that community. The feedback has been phenomenal from them, particularly on social media. People love using them and love getting their photographs taken using them. And that's what I mean about it's more than just a campaign. If we're just telling people to do this stuff and not providing the means to do it or encouraging them to do it by providing top-up taps or bottles, then it's just a campaign. This goes beyond just being a marketing campaign or an advertising campaign. And the one on the left-hand side in the middle there is at the south end of the West Highland Way, and we've got one at the north end of the West Highland Way. So when you do the West Highland Way, and I think it's 196 miles of a walk, you've got a top-up tap at either end, and that top-up tap is per head our most popular tap. We're able to track the flow of water through them, so we can see what their usage is like, and we can equate that to numbers of refills and ultimately number of plastic bottles saved from going into the environment. So the results, 1 year in, we think they're pretty phenomenal. The evaluation tells us there's been a behaviour shift. There's been an attitude change, which we've built on. We knew that was a movement that was happening. The figures from pre-campaign to post-campaign show movement in attitude, but also converting that to behaviour change. We've done dozens of events, we've done outreach and public engagement events, we've spoken to literally tens of thousands of people, feet on the ground at events like the Roy Highland Show, to Highland Games, to a whole bunch of events in between. We've given away literally thousands of bottles to people. We're creating user-generated content, or seeing user-generated content, particularly around the taps, as I said, and people refilling their bottles. The customer evaluation is they get this and they want to be part of it. They want to be part of this quiet revolution that's taking place around tap water, drinking it and not wasting it, and lessening our impact on the environment. And the figures there speak for themselves, to be honest. Better for the environment, pure and clean, convenient, and we've seen a 7% rise in people saying that they're carrying refillable bottles. So I expect that figure to go up from today. And it's always nice to be recognised, and I couldn't come here and not talk about awards, but the campaign was recognised earlier this year in the Drum Marketing Awards, and the judges said it was tapping into the global conversation and the global movement to become more sustainable as a society and lessen our impact on the environment. So we're working with our customers to achieve that. And and as I say, nice to have it recognised officially. So this is my final slide, just to wrap up. We're trying to be more than a utility. We play a key part in supporting a flourishing Scotland. We've got an important relationship with our customers. Trust is absolutely vital. If we don't have the trust of our customers, we have nothing. So building that trust and that relationship with the customers is so important. The campaign activity helps Scottish Water to be known for being more than just a utility. It's about caring for the environment, caring for our customers, caring for their health, and helping them save money. And I'll finish off on a point, and it was a senior news executive, not known for being the most forthcoming with positive feedback or praise, who said to me recently about the campaign, it's eye-catching, it's inclusive, and it's changing perceptions for what was an undervalued giant in Scottish Water. So I'll take that any day of the week. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. We've got a couple of minutes for any questions in the room. Andrew, around any of his campaigns or the organisation. Does anybody have anything? Just stick your hand up and you can put that to Andrew. One question that I had is, you spoke a lot about the values of the organisation and the messaging and building that trust. I was intrigued now, such a large organisation, and how you managed to kind of get that consistency across comms, across customer service, across all those different touch points, just to kind of really bring that brand and those values to life.
Yeah, I mean, we are a complex, large organisation with people working on the corporate side, people out in the field engaging with customers face to face. We've got people going out into homes around the country, taking samples to check on water quality. And the campaign messaging goes right through the organisation. So our internal comms team are very focused on not just doing what I've seen internal comms do in other organisations, which is just broadcast. It's about engaging with our employees. So whether you're in the contact centre or whether you're a technician on the ground going to take a sample from someone's tap, you know the message. You know the spine of what it is we're about. This campaign is actually designed to take us into our next regulatory period, 2021 to 27. So this is not, quick hit comms. This is long-term organisational mindset stuff leading into that relationship build with our customers. We want to take our customers with us right through for the next decade and beyond, and this campaign is designed to do that. And it will only work if everybody in the organisation, from chief executive through to ops guys and girls on the ground, carry the message.
Okay. One question over here before we move on. Yeah.
It looks like a fantastic campaign. The visuals are great, and you can see the rationale for it. I think you saw everyone was nodding away to you. It sounds like a thing. 32 top-up taps across Scotland. If you forgive the pun, sounds like a drop in the ocean. But why not more? Sort of what's the cost?
Yeah, we will be doing more. So there will be more taps going in. I'm not going to give the figure away today and reveal it today because we've not announced it yet. But we will be doing more. We're just part of this movement. We are not the panacea for marine litter and plastic. Everybody can play their part. So whether you use one of our top-up taps or whether you just top up from your own tap at home and take your bottle with you and top up at the office or at one of our top-up taps or in a cafe or restaurant, increasing numbers of cafes and restaurants and businesses are offering free refills to people with bottles. So we're just part of that and kind of encouraging and nudging people to be that behaviour change. So we're not claiming that the 32 or 34, as it stands just now, top-up taps will be the solution for everything. They're part of a much broader answer that we need to look at as a society, I think.
Do corporates pay or sponsor to have one installed at their premises?
Not at present. We're discussing with a number of organisations in partnership around putting refill points in. So these are all done in public space in conjunction with community groups and local authorities. We've got a great example, and others in the pipeline, but we've got a great example of one at Edinburgh Airport where they already had 2 refill points as you kind of exit the duty-free space and go into the departures hall. They were kind of invisible. People were using them, but they were kind of invisible, tucked away and hidden on a wall. And we worked with the airport to kind of rebrand the whole wall for Your Water, Your Life. So there's a kind of mixed economy of ways we can do this and ways we can work in partnership, from co-branding bottles to working with organisations putting in their own refill points to our fleet, as I call it, of top-up taps across the country. So there's a real mixed sweep of ways we can achieve the change.
One more question just before we move on, yeah?
Hello. So you talked about taking your consumers with you on your journey. How does that look like for your success? So you've talked about what you've achieved in your first year. Happy birthday. But how are you going to share that with your consumers to bring them truly along on what you're doing in the journey and how that campaign's running?
The campaign, he says, having already said, there's a caveat around the use of the word campaign. Your Water, Your Life, as I said, is a long-term piece of activity for us. We will be, in the next week or so, thanking Scotland in a number of different ways for joining the movement and being part of the movement and encouraging people to do more. So there's more communications coming, there's more engagement coming. We are out right across the summer. We do get summer in Scotland, I'm told. Telling people about the success of Your Water, Your Life, how they can play a part, how they can continue to top up from the tap. We're giving away more bottles at events, but also telling them to look after their water and things that they can do to conserve their water. So there's a whole further push on Your Water, Your Life to engage with customers. The campaign is, or the movement is kind of very much in the upward trajectory. There's a groundswell of people, particularly on social media, but also quietly working away in the background in their own small ways, making these changes. We know of a school in one of the Scottish islands off the north coast who've told the parents and guardians of the kids not to bring single-use plastic bottles to school with them, instead bring a refill bottle. So that's 200 kids who, in one fell swoop, are suddenly topping up from the tap. And that's just a small individual example of the kind of changes that we know are afoot right across our society. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, great, thank you.